The massive display screens in the United Earth Defense Command Center blinked to life with an incoming transmission. General Roberts stood straight, his weathered hands clasped behind his back as he watched humanity's first contact with the Galactic Council unfold. "This is High Council Member Reed of the Galactic Federation. We come in peace and wish to establish diplomatic relations with Earth." The aliens' appearance was almost human-like, except for the subtle shimmer of their bluish skin and the elegant crown-like structure on their head. The message was clear and in perfect English. They had clearly been studying Earth for some time. 3 months later, Captain James Walker found himself aboard the massive council ship orbiting Earth. His dress uniform felt tight around his neck as he carried a case containing Earth's military presentation. As the only human military representative allowed to attend this historic meeting, the weight of responsibility pressed heavily on his shoulders. The council chamber was a sight that took his breath away. Beings from 30 different species sat in rising tiers around a central platform. Some floated in anti-gravity fields, others sat in more traditional chairs, and a few were simply masses of energy contained in special fields. Captain Walker of Earth announced the Chamber I, here to present Earth's military capabilities for consideration of full membership status. Walker stepped onto the platform, setting his case down carefully. "Honorable Council members, thank you for this opportunity. I'm here to demonstrate humanity's defensive capabilities and argue for Earth's inclusion as a full member of the Galactic Federation." A holographic display activated above the platform as Walker began his presentation. "Earth maintains a combined space and planetary defense force. Our main weapons systems include railguns, coilguns, and various projectile weapons that use chemical propellants." A low murmur of amusement rippled through the chamber. Council Member Reed raised a hand. "Excuse me, Captain. Are you saying your species still uses physical projectiles, as in solid bullets and explosives?" "Yes, sir. We found them to be highly effective and reliable." Another council member, their form shifting like liquid mercury, spoke up. "But surely you have energy weapons, plasma cannons, quantum disruptors." Walker shook his head. "We've experimented with energy weapons, but found traditional ballistic weapons to be more cost-effective and dependable in various environments." Outright laughter echoed through the chamber now. Walker felt his face grow hot but maintained his composure. "My dear Captain," said a being composed entirely of crackling energy, "we eliminated the need for such crude weapons thousands of years ago. Even our youngest member species uses basic energy weapons." Walker cleared his throat. "With respect, Council members, our weapons may seem primitive, but they have proven highly effective. Would you allow me to demonstrate?" The Council agreed, more out of amusement than interest. Walker opened his case and removed an advanced rifle, standard issue for Earth's Space Marines. "This is our M42 combat rifle. It uses electromagnetic acceleration combined with traditional propellant to fire tungsten rounds at approximately 2,000 meters per second." He pointed to a target that materialized at the far end of the chamber. "May I?" Council Leader Reed waved a hand dismissively. "Please, proceed with your demonstration." Walker took aim and fired 3 quick shots. The sound echoed through the chamber, causing several council members to jump in surprise. The target showed 3 perfect holes grouped tightly in the center. As you can see, accuracy is excellent. The weapon requires no power source beyond its small battery for targeting systems, works in any environment, and cannot be affected by energy dampening fields. Despite the impressive demonstration, most council members remained unimpressed. Leader Reed spoke for the group. "While we appreciate Earth's presentation, we find your military technology to be insufficient for full membership status. We will grant Earth Observer status, with the opportunity to apply again in 50 standard years." Walker packed up his rifle, his movements precise and professional despite his disappointment. As he left the chamber, he overheard 2 council members speaking. "Such primitive weapons. Can you imagine facing modern threats with projectiles? They'll learn soon enough." The galaxy has moved beyond such things. Walker allowed himself a small smile. He had a feeling they might be wrong about that. Very wrong indeed. As his shuttle departed the Council ship, he couldn't shake the feeling that the Council's dismissal of human weapons might someday prove to be a massive mistake. Sometimes, he thought, the oldest solutions were the best ones, especially when nobody expects them. 6 months after Earth's failed membership bid, Captain Walker sat in his new office aboard the Council's observation station. As Earth's military liaison, he spent his days watching Council fleet movements and filing reports that nobody seemed to read. That changed on a quiet Tuesday morning. "Captain, you need to see this," said Lieutenant Rogers, rushing into his office with a datapad. 3 outer colony worlds gone dark in the past week. Walker studied the report, his eyes narrowing. "All along the same border region. Show me the patrol patterns." The station's holographic display lit up, showing the locations of Council defensive fleets. Walker immediately spotted the pattern. Something was systematically testing the Council's defenses. In the main Council chamber, the emergency meeting was already underway when Walker arrived. Council member Reed was speaking, his usual calm demeanor showing cracks of concern. "The energy shields failed completely," Reed reported. "Our weapons had no effect. The colony on New Haven is just gone. 2 million people vanished." "Impossible," declared another Council member, their crystalline form flickering with agitation. "Our shield technology is unmatched in known space." Walker raised his hand, waiting to be acknowledged. After a moment's hesitation, Reed nodded. "Captain Walker, you have something to add." "Yes, sir. The attack pattern suggests careful planning. They're probing for weaknesses, learning your response times. This isn't random piracy. It's military reconnaissance." The chamber erupted in dismissive murmurs. What would a human know of advanced military strategy? Someone called out. Walker stood his ground. "We may not have energy weapons, but we know war. These attacks follow classic infiltration tactics. They're testing your capabilities while hiding their own." "And I suppose Earth's primitive weapons would do better?" asked a Council member sarcastically. Before Walker could respond, another emergency signal lit up the chamber. The holographic display showed a massive energy surge at the colony of Hope's Landing. The Council watched in horror as their most advanced defensive fleet engaged an unknown enemy. The footage was chaotic. Strange, organic-looking ships absorbed energy weapon hits without damage. The Council ship shields flickered and failed against some invisible force. Within minutes, the entire defense fleet was disabled. "Play back the sensor data," Walker requested, stepping closer to the display. "Focus on their hull composition." The images zoomed in, showing ships that seemed to be grown rather than built. Their surfaces rippled like living tissue. "Those aren't metal ships," Walker muttered. "They're organic. That's why energy weapons aren't working. The hulls are absorbing the energy somehow." Council leader Reed turned to him. "What would you suggest, Captain?" "Let me send the data to Earth's Defense Command. We need to analyze their weaknesses. If energy weapons don't work, maybe it's time to try something different." Reed nodded slowly. "Send your data. But hurry, Captain. We've lost contact with 2 more colonies in the time we've been talking." Back in his office, Walker transmitted everything to Earth, adding his own urgent message. "Get me test results on ballistic weapons versus organic matter in space conditions. I think we might have the solution they need. But we have to prove it." The response came within hours. General Roberts' face appeared on Walker's screen, looking grim but determined. "We ran the simulations, Captain. Kinetic weapons would tear right through those organic hulls. No energy absorption, no shields, just good old-fashioned physics." Walker allowed himself a small smile. "Now we just have to convince the Council to let us try." "They laughed at our guns, Captain," Roberts reminded him. "They might not be laughing much longer." As if to emphasize his point, another alert flashed across Walker's screen. A 4th colony had gone silent. Time was running out, and the mighty Galactic Council was facing an enemy their advanced technology couldn't stop. Sometimes, Walker thought, watching the alert signals multiply across the star map, the oldest weapons were the best weapons. Now he just had to convince a chamber full of advanced aliens that humanity's primitive solutions might be exactly what they needed. The council chamber had never been so quiet. On the main display, a massive organic ship emerged from the darkness of space. Its surface pulsed with an eerie blue glow, like a heartbeat in the void. "We are the Void Runners." The alien transmission echoed through the chamber. Their language translated into a harsh, clicking sound. "Your energy weapons cannot harm us. Your shields cannot stop us. Surrender your worlds or watch them fall." Walker stood with the other military advisors, watching the council's faces change from shock to fear. The Void Runner's ship was easily 3 times the size of the largest council vessel. "How many colonies have we lost?" Council leader Reed asked, his voice heavy. 17 in the past 2 weeks, and 8 reported. "Our best warships are disabled or destroyed. Energy weapons have 0 effect." The Void Runner's ship opened like a blooming flower, revealing weapon ports that looked more like mouths. Green fire erupted from them, tearing through the Council's defensive line around their main colony world. "Their organic technology," Walker spoke up, stepping forward. "It doesn't just absorb energy weapons. It feeds on them. Every shot makes them stronger." Reed turned to him. "You saw this coming, didn't you, Captain?" "I suspected something like this might happen. That's why I asked Earth to run those weapons tests." The chamber shook as another blast hit the planetary shields. Warning lights flashed everywhere. "Show them," Reed ordered. "Show them your test results." Walker activated his data pad, projecting the footage from Earth's tests. "We created a replica of their hull material based on scanned data. Energy weapons were absorbed, but watch what happens with kinetic weapons." The video showed a railgun round tearing through the organic material, leaving a clean hole. No absorption, no enhancement, just destruction. "Primitive weapons," someone muttered, but there was no mockery in their voice now. "Sometimes the old ways work best," Walker said. "Their organic ships are tough against energy, but they're vulnerable to physical damage. A few good shots from our heavy railguns would tear them apart." Another blast rocked the chamber. The Void Runner's voice returned. "Your defenses fail. Your weapons feed us. Submit or perish." Council leader Reed stood up. "Captain Walker, how quickly can Earth deploy these weapons?" "We have 3 fleet carriers loaded and ready. We've been preparing since the first attack. Just give the word." "Given," Reed said without hesitation. "Any objections from the Council?" The chamber remained silent. No one laughed at human weapons now. Walker sent the launch codes immediately. Within hours, Earth's carriers emerged from hyperspace near the Council world. Their black hulls were bristling with railguns and coiled-in batteries. The Void Runner's ship turned to face this new threat, probably expecting another easy victory over energy weapons. Instead, they met a barrage of tungsten rods moving at relativistic speeds. The first salvo caught them completely by surprise. Massive holes appeared in their organic hull, atmosphere venting into space. The second salvo targeted their weapon ports, shredding the living material. Impossible. The Void Runner's transmission carried genuine fear now. "Your weapons, they are not energy-based." "No," Walker replied over the command channel. "Sometimes the old ways are the best ways." The organic ship tried to retreat, but Earth's carriers had already bracketed it. The third salvo tore it apart, pieces of living metal spinning off into the void. In the council chamber, stunned silence gave way to cheers. Walker felt a hand on his shoulder and turned to see Reed. "It seems we owe humanity an apology," the council leader said. "And perhaps a review of that membership application." Walker shook his head. "First, we need to deal with the rest of the Void Runners. This was just one ship. Their main fleet is still out there." Reed nodded gravely. "Then teach us, Captain. Teach us how to fight the old way." As alerts showed more Void Runner ships approaching, Walker began outlining humanity's battle plans. Sometimes, he thought, it took a threat from the future to prove the value of the past. The Council's war room was packed with representatives from 30 species. Holograms showed the positions of Void Runner fleets advancing through Council space. Red markers indicated fallen colonies, and there were far too many of them. Captain Walker stood before the assembly, but this time, no one was laughing at the human in their midst. Behind him, General Roberts had arrived from Earth, along with Admiral Wilson of the Earth Defense Fleet. The Void Runners have taken 23 colonies, Walker began. Their organic ships are still immune to energy weapons, but we've proven that conventional weapons work. Earth proposes a full military alliance. With bullets? Asked a younger council member, drawing some nervous laughter that quickly died away. General Roberts stepped forward. Not just bullets. Earth has been developing space warfare tactics for 200 years. We have railguns, coilguns, missile systems, and most importantly, we have experience in warfare that doesn't rely on energy weapons. He pressed a button, showing footage from the recent battle. Look at how the Void Runners fight. They expect energy weapons. They expect shields. They don't expect this. The display showed Earth ships launching clouds of tungsten penetrators, shredding Void Runner vessels. Simple physics, unstoppable by their energy-absorbing technology. We propose joint training, Admiral Wilson added. Equip Council ships with human weapons. Train your crews in ballistic combat. Fight them the old way. An older council member floated forward, their energy form flickering with anger. This is absurd. We cannot lower ourselves to using primitive weapons. There must be a way to enhance our energy technology. With respect, Walker replied, we don't have time. The Void Runners are advancing on 3 more colony worlds as we speak. How many more will we lose while trying to find a high-tech solution? Council Leader Reed raised his hand for silence. Captain Walker is right. We've lost too many worlds already. Show us your proposal in detail. The next hour was filled with technical specifications and training plans. Earth would provide weapons and instructors. Council ships would be retrofitted with railgun batteries and missile systems. Joint crews would learn to fight together. It will take time, General Roberts warned. Your crews need to learn new tactics. Ballistic weapons require different thinking than energy weapons. Time is something we don't have, someone shouted from the back. As if to prove the point, emergency alerts lit up the room. 3 Void Runner ships had just appeared near one of the core Council worlds. Perfect timing, Walker said. We have 2 Earth carriers in range. Let us show you what a combined operation looks like. The display shifted to show the battle. Earth ships moved in behind Council vessels, which were already engaging the Void Runners. As the organic ships absorbed and grew stronger from the energy weapons, they didn't notice the Earth carriers taking position. Watch, Admiral Wilson commanded. The carriers opened fire. Streams of hypersonic rounds tore into the Void Runners' flanks while they were focused on absorbing energy from the Council ships. One organic ship burst apart immediately. The second tried to turn but took a spread of missiles that broke its spine. The third attempted to retreat but ran straight into a wall of tungsten penetrators. The entire battle lasted less than 5 minutes. Silence filled the war room. Then Council Leader Reed stepped onto the central platform. I call for an immediate vote, he announced. The proposal for a full military alliance with Earth, including the adoption of their weapons technology. All in favor. Hands and appendages rose across the chamber. Even the older council member who had objected raised their energy tendril in agreement. Motion passed, Reed declared. Captain Walker, we accept your proposal. Begin immediately. As the chamber erupted in activity, Walker turned to General Roberts. Now the real work begins. We have to teach them to think differently about warfare. Roberts nodded. They've spent centuries advancing their technology. Sometimes it's hard to take a step back to move forward. At least they're not laughing anymore, Walker said, watching council members crowd around the weapon specifications with newfound respect. The next Void Runner attack would find a very different council waiting for them. Sometimes the best defense was the one your enemy thought they'd left behind centuries ago. 1 month into the joint training program, Captain Walker watched council crews loading railgun shells into their newly retrofitted ships. It was still strange to see advanced alien vessels bristling with what they had once called primitive weapons. "Better than expected," General Roberts said, reviewing the training scores on his tablet. "They're learning fast." "They have to," Walker replied. "The Void Runners took another 2 systems while we were setting this up." The massive training hangar was filled with mixed crews. Humans worked alongside aliens, teaching them the basics of ballistic space combat. The Council's advanced targeting systems, combined with human weapons, were proving to be a deadly combination. "Captain," Lieutenant Rogers called out. "Emergency signal from the Arcturus colony. 3 Void Runner ships detected on approach." Walker turned to Roberts. "Time to test our new combined fleet." "Are they ready?" Roberts asked. "They'll have to be." Within hours, the first Joint Human Council battle group assembled near Arcturus. 6 council ships, now armed with railguns and missiles, formed up alongside 3 Earth carriers. Walker commanded from the lead council vessel, where he could coordinate both styles of warfare. "Remember your training," he broadcast to all ships. "Let them think they're facing standard council energy weapons. Draw them in close." The Void Runner ships appeared exactly where expected, their organic hulls pulsing with stored energy from previous battles. They moved with confidence, obviously expecting another easy victory. "Council ships, begin standard energy weapon barrage," Walker ordered. "Make it look good." Earth carriers, hold position behind the moon. Green fire erupted from the council ships, their energy weapons splashing harmlessly against the Void Runners' hulls. The organic ships grew stronger, advancing steadily. "They're feeding," reported the alien sensor officer beside Walker. "Hull energy absorption at predicted levels." "Perfect," Walker smiled. "They think they know exactly what they're facing." "All ships, execute pattern Delta on my mark." The Void Runners moved closer, their ships opening like deadly flowers, ready to unleash their stored energy. Now, the council ships suddenly broke formation, revealing the Earth carriers rising from behind the moon. Before the Void Runners could react, every ship in the combined fleet opened up with their railguns. Thousands of tungsten rounds struck the organic ships simultaneously. Their energy-absorbing hulls, so effective against energy weapons, provided no defense against solid metal moving at relativistic speeds. The first Void Runner ship split in half, its stored energy exploding outward. The second took multiple hits to its weapon ports, leaving it dead in space. The third tried to retreat but found itself caught in a crossfire of missiles and railgun rounds. "All enemy ships neutralized," reported the sensor officer, unable to keep the excitement from their voice. "No casualties on our side." Cheers erupted across the combined fleet. Council crews celebrated alongside their human trainers. For the first time since the invasion began, they had won a major battle without losing a single ship. Back in the council chamber, Walker presented the battle recordings. "This is just the beginning," he explained. "Each victory teaches us more about their weaknesses. Each battle makes our combined tactics stronger." Council leader Reed nodded approvingly. The Void Runners are already changing their strategy. They're becoming more cautious, less willing to engage our forces directly. "Fear," General Roberts said. "They're feeling it for the first time. They're used to being invincible, but now they're vulnerable." "How soon can we expand the program?" Reed asked. "We need more ships converted, more crews trained." "We've streamlined the process," Walker answered. "What took us a month the first time, we can now do in a week." Earth's factories are running at full capacity producing weapons and ammunition, and the Council's shipyards are ready to begin mass production of the new hybrid vessels. Reed added, "Ships that carry both energy and ballistic weapons." Walker studied the strategic display, showing Void Runner forces pulling back from several sectors. They thought their organic technology made them unstoppable. They never imagined we'd beat them with basics of physics. Sometimes, Roberts smiled, the simplest solution is the best solution. Across Council space, more ships were being retrofitted, more crews trained in the old ways of war. The tide was turning, one tungsten round at a time. The war room was silent as Captain Walker laid out the most ambitious plan yet. 3 months of victories had given the combined fleet confidence, but this would be different. This time, they would strike at the heart of Void Runner territory. This is their main staging area, Walker said, pointing to a cluster of organic structures floating in deep space. They're living shipyards. Every scan shows they're growing new ships here. General Roberts stepped forward. We've assembled the largest combined fleet in Council history. 50 Council ships, all retrofitted with ballistic weapons, 20 Earth carriers. This is our chance to end the war. Council leader Reed studied the tactical display. The risk is enormous. If we fail, we'll lose our best ships and crews. If we succeed, Walker countered, we cut off their ability to replace their losses. They'll have to negotiate. The plan was approved within the hour. Across Council space, ships began jumping to the rally point. Each vessel was a testament to the new cooperation between humans and aliens. Council technology merged with Earth's primitive weapons. Admiral Wilson arrived from Earth to take command of the carrier group. All ships report ready, she announced. Ammunition stocks at maximum. Crews at battle stations. Walker watched from the flagship's bridge as the massive fleet moved into formation. Council ships now bristled with railgun turrets alongside their energy weapons. Earth carriers carried improved targeting systems based on Council technology. Multiple contacts. The sensor officer called out. Void Runner patrol fleet approaching. They've detected us. Right on schedule, Walker smiled. All ships, execute battle plan Thunder. The Void Runners came in aggressively, expecting to feed on energy weapons. Instead, they met a wall of tungsten rounds and missiles. 5 organic ships shattered in the opening salvo. Main fleet is away, Roberts reported. The patrol fleet took the bait. While a small portion of their forces engaged the patrol, the bulk of the combined fleet jumped to the shipyards. They emerged from hyperspace surrounded by massive organic structures, living factories creating new Void Runner vessels. All ships, weapons free, Walker commanded. Target the growth chambers first. The space around them erupted in fire. Railguns and missiles struck the organic structures, which had no defense against physical weapons. Void Runner ships tried to protect their shipyards, but they were caught off guard by the scale of the attack. Growth Chamber 1 destroyed, reported the tactical officer. 2 and 3 heavily damaged. The Void Runners fought back desperately, but their tactics were predictable now. When they tried to absorb energy from Council ships, they exposed themselves to the carrier's heavy guns. Enemy flagship detected. Admiral Wilson called out. Massive organic construct, twice the size of anything we've seen. The huge Void Runner ship emerged from within a burning shipyard. Its surface rippled with stored energy, glowing like a small sun. All ships concentrate fire, Walker ordered. Don't let it power up its main weapons. The combined fleet turned their guns on the flagship. Thousands of railgun rounds struck simultaneously, piercing the organic hull. Missiles followed, detonating deep inside the wounded vessel. The stored energy that made it so powerful against conventional enemies now worked against it, turning the ship into a massive bomb. Enemy flagship critical. Someone shouted. It's going to blow. All ships, emergency jump. Walker commanded. The fleet vanished into hyperspace just as the Void Runner flagship exploded, taking 3 shipyards with it. When they returned minutes later, the remaining shipyards were in ruins. Broken organic ships drifted lifelessly through space. The mighty Void Runner war machine had been broken. Incoming transmission, the comm officer announced. From the Void Runner High Command, Walker shared a look with Roberts and Reed. Put it through. You have destroyed our shipyards, the harsh clicking voice said. Our ability to grow new ships is gone. We request terms for cessation of hostilities. Council Leader Reed stepped forward. Unconditional withdrawal from all Council space. Return of all captured worlds. These are our terms. There was a long pause before the reply came. Accepted. As cheers erupted across the fleet, Walker thought about how far they'd come. From being laughed at for their primitive weapons to leading the combined fleet to victory. Sometimes, he said quietly, the old ways are the best ways. 1 year after the Battle of the Shipyards, Captain Walker stood in the Great Council chamber once again. The room had changed since his first visit. Now the walls displayed both energy weapons and ballistic arms, a testament to the new era of combined technology. The final Void Runner forces have withdrawn from Council space, he reported. All occupied colonies are free. The peace treaty has been ratified by both sides. Council Leader Reed nodded approvingly. And what of the Joint Defense Initiative? Walker gestured to the holographic display, showing ships under construction throughout Council space. Every new Council vessel now carries both energy and ballistic weapons. The first class of mixed-species crews has graduated from the Earth Council Military Academy. General Roberts stepped forward, now wearing the uniform of the Combined Fleet Command. More importantly, we've learned from each other. Council energy technology has improved our targeting systems. Human ballistic weapons have given the Council a backup when energy weapons fail. The chamber doors opened, admitting a group of cadets, humans and aliens training together. They stood at attention, their uniforms showing both Council and Earth insignia. The first graduating class of the new combined fleet, Walker announced proudly. They've learned both human and Council combat doctrine, energy weapons and ballistic weapons, new technology and old. An older Council member floated forward, the same one who had once mocked human weapons. I was wrong, they admitted. We had become too dependent on a single type of technology. You showed us the value of maintaining multiple approaches. The Void Runners taught us all a valuable lesson, Reed said. No matter how advanced we become, we should never forget the basics. Sometimes the old ways remain effective. The display changed to show the new defense plans. Council worlds now had layered defenses. Energy shields backed by physical armor, energy weapons supplemented by railguns and missiles. And what of Earth's membership application? Someone asked from the upper tiers. Reed smiled. Already approved. Earth is now a full member of the Galactic Council, with all rights and responsibilities thereof. He turned to Walker. In fact, Captain, or should I say Admiral Walker, we have a new position for you. Walker raised an eyebrow. Sir, the Council has created a new position. Commander of Combined Fleet Operations. We need someone who understands both human and Council methods. Someone who can continue building this partnership. The chamber erupted in applause as Walker accepted the position. Looking at the cadets, he saw the future. Humans and aliens working together, combining the best of both worlds. One last item, Reed announced. The Council has commissioned a new class of ships. The first one launches next month. The display showed a massive vessel, clearly incorporating both human and Council design elements. The GCS Thunderchild, a fitting name for the first of the new guard ships. Walker studied the ship's specs with pride. Energy weapons and railguns, shield generators and armor plates, Council sensors, and human targeting systems. Not a compromise between technologies, but a true fusion of both. The Void Runners couldn't have imagined this outcome, Roberts said quietly. Their attack didn't just fail to destroy us, it made us stronger. Looking around the chamber, Walker saw how much had changed. The Council members who had once laughed at primitive weapons now studied ballistic combat techniques. The aliens who had dismissed human military doctrine now incorporated it into their training. Remember this lesson, he told the assembled cadets. Never dismiss an idea just because it seems old or simple. Sometimes the oldest solutions are the best solutions. Sometimes moving forward means remembering what worked in the past. As the ceremony concluded, Walker watched Earth's flag being raised alongside the other council members' banners. They had earned their place not through superior technology, but through the wisdom of maintaining proven methods alongside new advances. The galaxy was changing, and humanity had helped shape that change. Not bad, Walker thought, for a species that still used primitive bullets.